If you had asked me a year ago what the most stable thing in my life was, I would have said my marriage. Without flinching. I was that sure. Laura and I met during our junior year at university. I was an overworked engineering major with a lopsided sense of humor, and she was studying hospitality management, all poised elegance and sharp wit. She'd been working part-time at the campus cafeteria, and our first interaction happened over a plate of the worst lasagna I'd ever tasted. I told her it was inedible. She dared me to cook better, and, well, the rest is history. After graduation, we got married, bought a modest house in a quiet neighborhood, and settled into what I thought was a comfortable, if occasionally mundane, rhythm. I worked as a systems analyst, and Laura eventually found a full-time position managing the cafeteria at a private preparatory school. She liked her job, said it gave her a sense of command, which always made me laugh, because at home, I was the one who followed her lead, at least most of the time. The cracks didn't show all at once. It started subtly, missed calls, shorter texts, an uptick in late nights, and emergency deliveries. I didn't think much of it at first. I mean, she worked in food services. Those kinds of scheduled shifts happen, right? But then, there were the odd receipts in her purse from unfamiliar bars downtown. A password change on her phone that she brushed off with a "Silly me, I forgot." A new perfume I didn't recognize. The little things that gnaw at the back of your mind like termites in the foundation. One day, while tidying up our bedroom, I found a folded note tucked inside the back pocket of her jeans. It was written in messy handwriting on the back of a cafeteria supply list. "Had to stop myself from staring when you leaned over the freezer. Thanks for the help today. Let's do another stock check tomorrow." There was no name. Just a smiley face drawn at the bottom. I stared at it for a long time. My stomach was a knot of questions. Was it a joke? Had someone crossed a line? Or was this something more? I didn't confront her. Not right away. I needed to be sure. I needed to protect what I believed was still real. That night, she came home flushed from the heat and carrying the usual stress in her shoulders. I watched her move around the kitchen with practiced grace, chopping vegetables and humming to a tune only she knew. She poured us wine, like she always did, and asked me about my day with the same half-attention. I wanted to believe it was just fatigue, that we were simply in a rut. But the silence between us had grown teeth. Over the next few days, I paid closer attention. She was always texting, smiling at her phone, then quickly locking it when I walked by. She changed her routine, said she had to be in early for supply counts, and returned home later and later with excuses that didn't quite line up. So I did what I never thought I'd do. I followed her. It was a Tuesday morning. I told her I had a doctor's appointment and wouldn't be back until the afternoon. I waited 20 minutes after she left, then drove to her worksite, parking a few blocks away. From where I sat, I had a clear view of the loading dock and employee entrance. An hour later, I saw her. She was laughing. Not just polite laughter, but the kind that lit up her face, the laugh I hadn't seen in months. Standing beside her was a man I'd never seen before. Tall, broad-shouldered, with the kind of presence that demanded space. He wore the cafeteria's cook uniform, his sleeves rolled up to reveal tattooed forearms. His name tag read, Elias. They weren't doing any stock checks. They were leaning against the loading ramp, talking closely, too closely. At one point, he reached out and brushed a stray strand of hair from her face, and she didn't flinch. She smiled and touched his arm in return. I sat frozen in my seat, hands gripping the steering wheel, my breath caught somewhere between disbelief and fury. It wasn't a kiss, it wasn't overt, but it was more than friendly. I knew it in my bones. Back home, she greeted me like everything was fine. asked me how my appointment went, laughed at some dumb story I told. I smiled, nodded, played the part. But something had changed in me. That crack in our foundation had become a split, and all the love I had carried with such devotion now felt heavy in my chest. That night, I couldn't sleep. Her phone buzzed around midnight. She was asleep beside me, her breathing soft, one hand curled around the pillow like a child. I reached over, heart pounding, and picked it up. A message preview lit up the screen. Elias, tomorrow. Freezer. Just like before. I didn't sleep at all that night. I lay next to her, staring at the ceiling while my heart tried to claw its way out of my chest. Every breath she took in her sleep felt like an insult. Peaceful. Dreaming. Probably about him. Elias. That name alone had burrowed into my mind like a splinter. It was etched into the fabric of my marriage now, and I couldn't unsee the way she looked at him. The way she smiled with her whole face. I hadn't seen that smile directed at me in months. The next morning, I acted normal. Made coffee, kissed her cheek like nothing was wrong. She didn't even flinch. Didn't notice how stiff I was. Her phone buzzed again on the kitchen counter, and I watched her glance at it before smiling to herself and sliding it into her pocket. I felt sick. After she left, I took the day off work. I told my boss I wasn't feeling well, and that wasn't a lie. Something inside me was unspooling slowly, like a coil stretched too far. I couldn't just sit back and pretend. I needed to see for myself. I parked near the back entrance of the school, again in that quiet little dead end where no one would question a car with tinted windows. The cafeteria's delivery schedule ran like clockwork, and I knew if I waited until about 10:45, they'd be moving things around. I didn't expect what I saw. She wasn't just flirting. She wasn't just touching his arm. At precisely 11:02, Laura and Elias slipped inside the walk-in freezer together, laughing like teenagers sneaking off to ditch class. A few minutes passed. Then 10. I climbed out of my car and walked closer, using the loading dock's corner wall as cover. There was a small high window at the back of the kitchen, just enough to see the edge of the freezer through the fogged glass, and just enough to see their silhouettes. There was no mistaking it. Two bodies entwined, one braced against the cold metal wall, the other moving with an unmistakable rhythm. Her hands were in his hair. His lips were at her neck. I backed away before I could lose it right there on the pavement. I drove straight to a park on the edge of town and just sat there, staring out at the pond. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't throw my phone into the water like some dramatic movie scene. Instead, I sat there trying to remember the last time she touched me like that. When was the last time we kissed with heat behind it? When was the last time she looked at me with desire, not duty? It felt like years. That night, I didn't confront her. I couldn't. I didn't trust myself to speak without shaking. I needed more proof, more time, a plan. So I did what every betrayed husband swears they'll never do until they actually do it. I bought a recorder. The next morning, I placed it inside her purse while she showered. Just a tiny thing, no bigger than a flash drive, voice-activated and discreet. If she went back to him, and I knew she would, it would catch it. Maybe it wouldn't give me closure, but it would give me certainty. She kissed my cheek as she left, her lips soft and impersonal. That night, I retrieved the recorder while she was upstairs folding laundry. My hands trembled as I transferred the files to my computer. The audio was scratchy at first. Footsteps, cafeteria noise, trays being shuffled. Then, his voice. Deep, amused. "You always taste better when you're cold." Her laugh. Soft, breathless. "You keep saying that. You trying to start a rumor?" A pause. Then the unmistakable sound of kissing. The rustle of clothes. A low moan. I hit stop. My heart was in my throat. It was real. This wasn't emotional unavailability or harmless flirting. This was an affair. An actual, physical, secret-stealing, reality-breaking affair. I sat there in silence for a long time. This wasn't just about sex. This was about the life I thought I had. The woman I believed I was coming home to every night. The foundation of who we were was gone, rotted from the inside out by freezer trysts and stolen moments behind metal doors. I needed to confront her. Not with shouting. Not with begging. With facts. When she came home, I was waiting in the kitchen. The house smelled like rotisserie chicken, ironic. I couldn't even stomach the smell. "Hey," she said, dropping her purse on the counter. "You okay?" "You look pale." I slid the recorder across the table. "What's this?" she asked. "You tell me." Her hand hovered over it, then dropped. The blood drained from her face. "You went through my bag? That's what you're concerned about." She sat down slowly, eyes on the recorder like it might explode. "Kevin, I can explain." "Don't," I said quietly. "Not yet. I didn't mean for it to happen. Was it the freezer yesterday? Or the week before? Or all the times I made dinner while you said you were staying late to order dry goods?" Silence. Her eyes brimmed, but I felt nothing. I wanted to. I wanted to cry, to rage, to break something. But all I felt was cold. Like I'd stepped into the same freezer she gave herself away in. "Do you love him?" I asked. She blinked, like the question stunned her. "No. I don't know. He made me feel alive again." "And what am I?" I said. "A ghost?" "I didn't plan it," she whispered. "He was just there. And he saw me. Not just as a manager. As a woman." I stood. "So did I, Laura. I saw you as everything." She didn't move. Didn't stop me when I walked out of the room. Upstairs, I locked the bedroom door and laid down on the guest bed. My bed now, I guessed. I stared at the ceiling. The silence was louder than her betrayal. The next morning, she was already in the kitchen when I came downstairs, dressed like it was just another Wednesday. Coffee was brewing, eggs were sizzling, and the house smelled like some poor imitation of normal. I didn't speak. I poured myself a cup of coffee and sat down across from her. She looked like she hadn't slept either, eyes puffy, hair thrown into a careless ponytail. I half expected her to pretend like nothing had happened, to keep up the charade a little longer. But she didn't. "I'm sorry," Laura said quietly, stirring her coffee with trembling fingers. "I know that doesn't fix anything. But I need to say it." I nodded, because what else was there to do? "I wanted to feel wanted again," she continued. "Not just needed. There's a difference. You were always kind. Solid. Safe. But somewhere along the way I felt like I faded into the background of your life." "You faded?" I asked, voice sharp. "Laura, I built my life around you. I worked overtime to help you through culinary school. I cheered you on. When you got the cafeteria job, I thought we were a team. And you chose him." She looked away, shame tightening her mouth. "He was there. He paid attention. He touched me like I still mattered. You mattered to me," I said, my voice cracking despite myself. She blinked rapidly, tears starting to fall. "I didn't stop loving you. I just stopped knowing how to be your wife." The quiet that followed wasn't gentle. It was hollow. I stared at the woman I had once worshipped, the one who used to leave me love notes in my lunchbox, who used to fall asleep with her head on my chest, whispering dreams about a bakery we'd never open. She was still beautiful. Still human. But also a stranger now. I listened to the whole recording. I told her. "You said things to him that I don't think I'll ever be able to unhear. She flinched. I was lost. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Just honesty. What do you want to do now? I took a long breath. This was the crossroads. The cliff's edge. I'm moving out, I said. Her eyes widened. Wait, what? No. Please don't do that. Kevin, we can fix this. No, Laura. You can't microwave a frozen marriage and expect it to taste the same. I deserve more than apologies and burned trust. Then let's try, she said, voice rising. Let's go to counseling. I'll quit the job. I'll cut him off, block his number, file a report if I have to. Just don't give up on us. I looked at her, really looked, and saw not just the woman who cheated, but the woman who once held my heart in both hands and let it slip. I'm not giving up, I said. I'm just letting go. The words hit her like a slap. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I've packed a bag, I added, standing. I'll be at Nate's for now. I need time. Maybe one day we can talk. But today, I need distance. She followed me to the door, barefoot on the hardwood, and when I turned the knob, she whispered, "Do you still love me?" I didn't answer. I couldn't, because I wasn't sure. Nate greeted me with a hug and a bottle of beer. We sat on his back porch while the sun sank behind the trees, and I told him everything. The freezer, the affair, the recording. His face twisted with rage at first, but softened when I said I didn't want revenge. I just wanted peace. "You're handling this better than I would," he said. "I'd have decked the guy." I chuckled bitterly. "I thought about it. But what's the point? Punching a cook won't unboil this mess. You going to divorce her?" I hesitated. "Eventually. Probably. I don't know. I need to find out who I am without her first." Weeks passed. I didn't reach out. She didn't either. The silence between us grew into a wall, and I didn't try to tear it down. I focused on work, on running again, on the little things I had stopped doing when I was busy holding up the world alone. I started sleeping better, breathing easier, even smiling. Then one night, I found a small package on Nate's porch. Inside was a letter, written in Laura's looping handwriting, and a small paper bag of muffins. The kind she used to make for me on Saturdays, when the world still felt steady. "Kevin, I don't expect you to read this, or forgive me, or come back. I just want you to know I'm sorry. Not for getting caught, but for forgetting the man I married. You were always enough. I just wasn't brave enough to tell you I didn't feel like I was. I hope you find someone who never makes you feel small or invisible. You deserve a love that doesn't get lost in walk-in freezers and lies. I'll always regret not protecting what we had. Laura." I read it twice, then put the muffins in the trash. She was right. I deserved more. I never saw Elias again, though I heard he didn't last long at the school after that. Laura stayed in the same house for a while, but I eventually filed for divorce. It was clean, amicable, and quiet. No drama. No revenge. Just two people going their separate ways because trust, once broken, doesn't always mend. Some nights, I still think of the woman I married, of the laughter we once shared, the dreams we painted onto the walls of our first apartment. But mostly, I think of the man I became afterward. And I like him better.